This is the video for Module 1, Topic A Review. I'm going to start by reading through the directions carefully, and it says to record the digits and write the first number in word form on the top row. So that first number they're talking about is right here, so we have to write that in word form, and it says 4. And because there's a decimal point, we say and 153, and it ends right here in the thousands place, so we have to make sure that we put that thousands at the end. Next, it says record the answer and write the number in word form on the second row. So we need to go back to the problem. We're going to erase that work so that we have room. And we see that it says to multiply. When I multiply, I move the decimal to the right. I know I need to move it 3 times because there's 3 zeros, so I have to jump 1, 2, 3. We end up with this number up here. So on the bottom line, we need to write 4,153. We're going to look now at letter B. This time, we're going to write that very first number, which is right here. So we write 984. This time it's telling us to divide, so we know we need to move to the left with our decimal when we divide. Some of you might ask yourself, but if it's a whole number, I don't even see a decimal there. If you don't see a decimal, we always have to remember the decimal starts then all the way to the right. We are to jump 2 times because there's 2 zeros, so we have 1, 2. Decimal ends up right there. We're going to put our answer on the line, and then we can write our answer down here. 9, and because there's a decimal, 84, and since it ends in the hundredths place, that's the hundredths place, you write hundredths at the end. So now we're going to go down, and we're going to look at the next question, which is just telling us to solve. We don't have to worry about any of the word form. So once again, when it tells me to multiply, I know I'm moving to the right. There's 1 0, so 1 jump to the right, and here's my new answer. This time, it tells me to divide. When I divide, I'm going to the left. There's 1 0, so I know I have to jump 1 spot. So I end up with 62 and 81 hundredths. That's page 80 of the Topic A review. Page 81, we're now going to continue to solve. The numbers just have gotten a little larger. And I notice in both of these right here, there is a whole number. When there is a whole number, I have to remember that my decimal is starting right here. So the first thing tells me to multiply, and I notice I don't have a lot of room. So I'm going to go right up here and rewrite it. And I'm multiplying, so I know I'm going to the right. I have to make 3 jumps. I have to fill in my 3 egg holders, what would I fill them in with? I always use 0 as a placeholder. And we end up with 945,000. Over here, once again, I'm going to rewrite my number to make it bigger and easier to work with. I'm dividing, so I'm going to the left. My decimal is always to the right when I start. 1, 2, 3, because there's 3 zeros. And I end up with my answer of 945 thousandths. Question 3. It says to write the following in exponential form, and then to write a multiplication sentence, but we can only use 10 as a factor. So when I look here, I think of how can I make 100 using just tens, and I can do 10 times 10. Then in exponential form, I'm going to write my 10. And how many times did I multiply 10? I multiplied it 2 times. Then I look down here. How can I make 1,000? Well, if I do 10 times 10 times 10, I have 3 tens, 3 zeros. That's how I know how many tens I need. But I can't forget this other 10 over here. So I'm going to rewrite that now. And I have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. This time I'm going to do it in exponential form, and I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4 tens. I have 10 to the 4th power. Down on the bottom, we're moving our decimal using exponents. So here we have our first number, we're multiplying. We know when we multiply, we go to the right. I'm going to write it right over here to make it so I have more room. The exponent is 2, that's like telling me there's 2 zeros, so I'm going to jump 2 times to the right. And I have an empty spot here, and that egg holder needs to be filled with a 0. So I end up with 860. Next, I'm going to take question B. I have 26. I'm going to rewrite it to give myself more room again. I'm going to say, where is the decimal to start? I don't happen to see a decimal. Decimals are always to the right in a whole number. I'm going to have to jump 4 times. Since I'm multiplying, I'm going to have to go to the right. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to fill all of those in with zeros. And I end up with my answer of 260,000. Next, I'm now switching over to division. Once again, I'm going to rewrite it to the left over here. I have the number 90 with no decimal. It's a whole number. So where should I put the decimal to start? I should put the decimal to the right. It's an exponent of 2. So I'm dividing, so I'm going to jump left. So I jump 1, 2. There's my new decimal. It no longer exists over there. And I have 90 hundredths. And the last one to review, I'm dividing again. I'm moving to the left. I'm jumping 3 times. Let me put my number down there and jump. 1, 2, 3. Just like before, if I have an empty spot, I need to put a 0 in there. And I can write my new answer. And those are the answers to the topic A review.